I'm absolutely shocked that we were able to keep it a secret.
It was insane.
With Holly and Ashlyn, we kind of came up with this very elaborate scheme to trick them, which I'm not super proud of.
I am very, very sorry that I tricked you into a photo shoot for
Halloween night, actually, on October 31st.
Lisa sold it great. Like, people went out and bought costumes.
I think all of us were kind of confused because she was just like, we're gonna do a photo shoot. And so I remember like everyone was going to Spirit Halloween to like get their costumes.
Like, we were like getting ready, okay, like we're actually taking pictures. But I think when I walked into the locker room.
And then we get in the locker room and we're like ready to put our costumes on, and then Lisa comes up to us and
Lisa wanted us to match. I was like, okay, something's going on here.
And so we were like super excited. They take us into like Save Mart, where the court is, and I still had no idea. Like, they had a video playing for us, and I think everyone was so confused of like what was gonna happen. And then when the curtains like went up, and then we saw the court, and I think it was just crazy.
None of us could believe that we actually had Terraflex.
My dream.
There's just no way we got a new court. Like, that's crazy.
So, just to give you a little bit of a backstory, we kept the secret since July. Wow.
This was a really genuine, good surprise, and I was really happy for it.
It was obviously super exciting. This is like the best court you could get, and like for us to be able to feel like also that we earned that.
It's a very nice surface for your athletes to play on. It helps with just some impact stuff. It definitely helps with floor burns and stuff like that. It's nice from an appearance standpoint, but then it's also really good from a health standpoint.
It's a big deal to have Terraflex. I mean, just for your body wise, and how much better you feel after jumping 1,000 times on wood compared to it. It's a foam-ish type floor. It's kind of hard to explain unless you're actually standing on it, but it's a hard surface, but there's some give in it.
It felt great to dive on. Like, you would slide so far, you weren't sticking to the ground.
Terraflex, I don't think, was a big thing up until recently. And so I think more and more people are gonna know the benefits and why it's so much better than a regular court, which is nice. So when recruits come, like, they're gonna know that, hey, like, we're backed up in this program, and like, this is a program to be at.
Just knowing that they believe in us.
Up within the school, the program, our coaches, and it's nice to see like our hard work paid off in a way.
The fact that they got the Terraflex for us shows how much this coaching staff and administration are willing to invest into this program.
Just the commitment level that the university and the athletic department, the administrators, they were all just very committed to volleyball being a great sport.
You know, Lisa and our whole coaching staff being able to come in and do what they did to prove that, you know, we can play on this court, we earn this court.
Go Lisa! Go Lisa! Go Lisa!
I want to thank all the people behind the scenes who we didn't necessarily know put into the floor, but also the people who set it up every time we come into Save Mart and get to play on it, and the donors and the givers who allowed us to have this court for our program.
We now have a floor that when you look at it on TV, it's 100% a volleyball floor. There's no basketball lines on it. It's a volleyball dedicated floor, and that's a big deal. That highlights our sport, that highlights our girls. So yeah, I'm really excited for playing on it more now. Welcome home, this is yours.
Going into Air Force, we were like, okay, looking up the matchups, Utah State hard, Boise State hard.
Obviously those are really good teams. And so especially Utah State, like, we were obviously all thinking this is gonna be hard, but I think all in our back of our minds, like, we all thought like there's no way we're not gonna make it to the tournament.
Going into Air Force, it was like, okay, this is it. All we need to do is just we need to win this game.
On the campus of the United States Air Force Academy as the Falcons welcome in the Fresno State Bulldogs.
We all knew at that moment in time, like, we need to get one win and, like, we can make it in.
They do have a tough match today as Fresno State comes in second place in the Mountain West Conference.
Play up the competition, but downplay the results as much as you possibly could. But also, I mean, I'm not going to treat these guys like infants. They knew what was on the line. I mean, everybody did.
Fresno setting their middles quite a bit on good passes.
Haluska continues to be a menace on the outside. Bulldogs come into this match truly with one of the better defenses in the conference, top 4 in basically all major defensive stats. This little group of 4 Bulldogs, that's exactly where they go.
And let Joy.
Yep. And a back row attack on the Bulldogs, and the Falcons sweep on senior night, 3-0.
This is something we can do. It's possible. And I think we tried to really keep that alive during these last 2 matches. The hope wasn't gone. It was possible.
Look at each other and know y'all have each other's back.
Who knows what will happen? But all battling for that Mountain West tournament and then eventually an NCAA bid.
Ella's worked really hard all season long to get into tempo, to get into rhythm, to get into, just to be a go-to hitter for us. And I thought that she did that. She showed that tonight.
As the Dogs fall in 4 to Utah State, who's now won 13 in a row. The Dogs have won 8 of the last 11. I'm Matt Norville. Head coach Lisa Rosen is alongside to talk about this one. Fresno State takes the first set, and then Utah State wins the next 3 sets. Coach, watching it courtside, it was really the middle of the sets in set 2, 3, and 4 where Utah State went on some streaks that really they were able to take kind of a little bit of control, and then they just held on.
Yeah, I think, to credit Utah State, they're a very good team. They're very experienced, and we talked about that. They're winning right now, and so they expect to win. And I think that that's where they just kind of start to pull away. And then we sat back a little bit, and that's something that we're working on getting better at, of not sitting back and waiting, but of attacking our opponents.
Utah State, we were like, okay, we lost them, but we didn't get blown out. Like, our matchup isn't bad. Let's go to practice. We need to get 1% better because it was crunch time. It was like, this is it.
As we take a look ahead to Saturday, Senior Day, will be a lot of emotions. You take on Boise State. You win, you're playing next week in Vegas. If you lose, things can happen. You can still get in, but you want to take care of business.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure on anybody.
Pressure is a privilege. We now are playing for something, whereas a lot of teams or teams in the past, they were just playing for the end of their season. And so again, that goes back to a little bit of thrive instead of just survive.
We just tried to take the pressure off of it as much as we could, and it just sometimes that doesn't happen, but I think we had to bring it back down to be something as simple as a volleyball game, which we've done so many times before, and just making it feel like the pressure is not on us was one of our goals.
And so we talked about pressure being an opportunity instead of a burden.
Well, let's talk about the seniors a little bit. Senior Day on Saturday, you're going to say goodbye to 3 of them, Waters, Doyle, and Amali Epright. Just what have they meant to the program?
Yeah, I think that the 3 of them have been unbelievable as far as just they've gone through a coaching change and they bought in. They bought into everything that we have introduced, that we have talked about, that we've emphasized. And they not only accepted us, but they got better, and that's hard for 5th years. But every single day, Molly and Grace and Hannah worked on stuff to get better. And that's really cool, that they weren't checked out. They weren't just here for their last year. They weren't just here to enjoy their teammates. They really wanted to get better. These guys have worked their tails off to get here, and then 4 years goes by fast. And I know that there's COVID, and I know that there's some extensions with programs or with careers, but for the most part, you get 4 years to do something that you've dreamed about doing your entire life.
Growing up watching it, I loved the way that these little girls would come to the games and put pictures of my sister on it, and I always just wanted that for myself. So My first game freshman year, I was so excited when a little girl came and asked for a picture with me because I love to be a role model for young girls, especially being short. I'm like, you can do it too. You don't have to be tall.
You know, this whole entire year we were setting standards. Now we have a standard, and that's what those three did, was that they came in and they worked hard every single day. You know, Molly brought her joy. Molly brought her passion for the game every single day. When she played, she was impactful, and you know, in practice she went after it, and she would hold girls accountable. Same thing with Hannah. You know, Hannah's role morphed and developed into something that, you know, no one really saw coming, but it was exactly a perfect role for her. And then, you know, I think that Grace was, you know, she's obviously spent 5 years here, and she's had a very, very successful career here. But she, you know, she came in and she produced for us. We needed her to produce, and she produced for us every single day. And she also, at the same time, enjoyed her teammates. I think that's the biggest thing is those three really enjoyed their teammates.
Kind of take it for granted how you have a group of the team, 16 plus the coaches, that you're around every day who really care about you, who truly, truly care about how you're doing and just your overall well-being, and they're so interested in your life. And yeah, and then when Lisa came in, she really bought into that. We joke that she's our mom. She's so motherly and really cares about us. And she came in and would have us over at team dinners at her house, and it really, really felt like a family. Our team and this coaching staff, we're all in it together.
This program, it honestly changed my life.
I am the person I am today because of everything that I've been through here. I just wouldn't have done it any differently. If I got the chance to go back and pick, I wouldn't do it. I would pick the same situation.
And so coming here, even though our season, my junior year, wasn't the best season, I think I learned a lot as a person and as a teammate. And so coming into when Lisa was our coach, the way she handled the program is just amazing and changed my perspective. At times as a college athlete, it's hard because you put in so much effort and then sometimes you don't see it. But yeah, I just think that this program did a really good job, especially my last year, of showing appreciation for their athletes.
Find a lot of joy in talking to my old teammates and this coaching staff, and they're some of the greatest people I've ever met, some of the greatest friends. And I just think that I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did if I wasn't around those people. I just wanted it to be focused on playing a good game of volleyball against a good team with my best friends, and so I think that's what I just brought it down to. I had been going to the St. Martin Center to first watch my sister play since I was 10 years old, and then it just went by, and it was so fast. I was like, I can't believe I'm 22 years old and this is over. I was sitting up there when I was 10. It was just mind-blowing to me.
Grace and Molly are all I know of Fresno State. When I came as a sophomore in high school, they were on the team. I watched them play, and you know, Maggie, Molly's sister, was who recruited me, my coach, for a year. So it's just the energy that they bring to the team and they had brought since I walked in the door was contagious.
I remember when I came in, everyone was super welcoming, and especially Molly, but she's like that with everyone. But I think throughout the season, it was just really cool to be seniors with Molly and Grace because they're such great people.
So thinking about them leaving was definitely okay, things are gonna be a lot different. And then also Hannah coming in and us being able to work so closely together, both being setters, we built a relationship with Jerome too, and it was a little family, Jerome, Hannah, and I. So definitely, yeah, they mean a lot to the program.
Grace and Hannah are two of my closest friends on the team, and it's just a great feeling that the three of us kind of did that together, that kind of being the oldest kind of led this program, and the freshmen coming in, we got to set the example of what we want the program to be like.
The seniors like Molly and Grace, just the attitude and that's who you want in a college athlete is Molly and Grace. So it was just really nice to be a senior with them and leave with them.
Hannah is very unique because she's super competitive. she's a little firecracker. And she and I love playing together because we kind of bring out that intensity in each other. And
Like, I think Grace is a very great person and just can be friends with anyone, which is really nice coming in.
Grace is obviously a stud. She's a great player, but I think she's helpful to the team because she makes the younger players feel comfortable. She doesn't, you know, college athletics can be very stressful, but she doesn't make it seem stressful. She makes it seem like it's just, you know, she's just playing volleyball. She's having some fun.
It was a combination of everything. Again, the pressure of having to win, but also I really, really wanted to enjoy the moment of just me being the last game in Save Mart for me. And so I think I was stuck in between a rock and a hard place because there was this pressure that I had to feel. Obviously, I needed to win, but also I really wanted to be present.
Yeah, I don't think like that day, I remember walking into the locker room and the team had decorated the locker room and all the seniors' lockers. And so I think even then, I don't think I had settled in like, wow.
During warm-ups and during everything, I was just looking around, realizing it was my last time playing there. And I just felt so grateful to have spent so much time on that court and now getting to play on the new Terraflex and just being able to see how far our program had come.
I think even during warm-ups, even during playing, like I don't think it ever hit me until the game was over, and then we started like doing the whole senior celebration where my parents came on the court, my family.
The amount of support that I received that day was just so heartwarming because people were coming up to me who I had never even seen before saying, "We had so much fun watching you play the last 5 years," and I was like, please stop, that's too nice. And you know, just the simple hugs from all the parents of my teammates, it was just so sad. And you know, I really took it all in.
Playing Utah State and playing Boise State at home the second time, we played better. We were better. We didn't win, but we were better.
Well, I think everybody thought we would win at least one. You know, when we lost to Air Force, we're like, okay, we have 2 games. One of them is senior day. We're gonna win on senior day. You know, we'll be excited, it's senior day. And then I think in that match, we're like, oh my gosh, we lost to Boise.
Walking away from that, I was upset because obviously we wanted to win. And I just think that because that didn't happen, I just was consumed by that moment. And I think that I was upset, but also it was senior day. So I was around my family and my friends, and so I just wanted to put it behind me at that point and just focus on the people that were there to support me. Besides the loss, I had a great time. I was with my family, my extended family came, and we all just hung out. You know, it was everything that I could have asked for, and so I think at the end of the day, it was a really good day.
We're making progress. You know, it's never as fast as what you want it to be. It's not black and white. You know, it's you can play better, but you may not win, but you can still play better and you can get better. And I thought that that's what we were doing. And that's, for me, that's what this whole season was built on, was improving. Every single match, every single opportunity we had, I wanted us to stay steady and improve. And if we can do that, then we're making steps forward.
Again, it just didn't hit me until it was actually over. And for us, we just didn't know if it was actually over or not.
When the last whistle blows and you see Jenna, and how devastated she is and the rest of the team, yeah, I mean, that's not a great moment. But if you can step away from it and start to look at the progress that has been made, 2 months ago, we weren't even in a conversation about the tournament. And so really being able to stay very realistic with expectations, knowing that expectations are increasing because of what we did.
Everyone was definitely crushed that we potentially could be out of the conference tournament.
From what we were talking about was control what we can control. If we would have won that match, we knew we were in, and we were in control. Now, we had to give up control and wait for another match and a win or a loss of another team that we had no control over, and that was hard. That was mind-numbingly hard.
Then I remember someone coming up to me being like, okay, Colorado State just
has to be Air Force, and then you guys are in. I'm like, okay, come on, now our focus is on this game. We're over our loss, our focus on this game. We're rooting for Colorado State for the first time ever.
It was nice that there was still some hope. It wasn't like, okay, that's it, boom, we're done, pack it up. But, you know, like, I remember all our dads were like, okay, well, if this team beats this team or whatever, like, we still have a shot, we still have a shot. So, I mean, it was cool to still have a little bit of hope in there for sure.
Are we gonna be a seed in the tournament or not? It kind of depended on a lot of different factors. So there was that, and you have the thoughts of, man, I'm never gonna play with Hannah again. I'm never gonna get to play with Grace again. Like, this was it. Like, the last time on their home court in Save Mart Center, like, I'll miss Molly. Have these thoughts, and it's like so sad.
I just remember thinking, like, when we lost, I was just like, I don't know if this is it, or like, I don't know. And it's really hard to like handle those emotions because you want to be sad, but then you don't know if you should be sad because you still can play. But I just remember thinking, like, we're still playing. This is not the end. We all went back to my apartment and we're like, okay, let's just watch the game, see what happens. So we ordered pizza and we're watching the game.
I was at home with my roommate Presley, and I'm pretty sure we were watching the end of the game.
So I was at dinner with my family. We were at Mad Duck because that's my parents' favorite place, and we were actually watching the game. So we were at a big table, and we had 4 phones on each side and ends of the table, and we all had a good point of view, so we were watching it.
Everybody's texting, okay, they're up 1 set, they're up 1 set.
Like, we cheered in the middle of the restaurant, and I was like, okay, guys, like, we're the only ones in here that are cheering right now. Let's bring it down a little bit.
So I was down on the sidelines of the football game. We had a recruit on campus, and so obviously we're entertaining the recruits, and we're literally watching. OJ's updating us because he was not with us at that point in time, but he's like play-by-play. Mark's watching it, we're all watching it, and we're, it's getting closer and closer to it being a reality.
And once we realized that Colorado State won, we were just, screaming of joy. Addison was with us too. And so I just remember being super happy. And I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure we texted the group chat and we're just going off of how excited we are.
And then Lisa sent a text to the group chat.
I sent a text to the girls, just why not us? And it was pretty special.
And so I just remember us being like, oh my God, we're actually going. Like,
I remember our team group chat was going off with the coaches, and Lisa was so excited, as she always is. So, she's like, all right, Ashlyn, get the schedule out as soon as possible so we know what we're doing. And then Maya Malchevska has this phrase she uses, put your backpack on. It's like we're on a business trip. So I text in the group chat, Ma, put your backpack on. We're going on a trip.
But I just remember I went on my phone and our group chat was just blowing up. Like, Lisa and Jerome and OJ, they were all super excited, and we were just getting a bunch of text messages. And so it was a great moment. I mean, I loved being surrounded by my family while getting that news. So I loved it. It was great.
But I remember my parents being like, oh my gosh, now we gotta go to Vegas next week. Like, I gotta get plane tickets. So yeah, it was a very fun and exciting experience.
My mom and my parents and I are screaming in the middle of Mad Duck, so excited that we made it to the conference tournament. Grace was at dinner inside of Mad Duck, and I ran in, I'm like, Grace, we're going! And so everyone was just so grateful and excited, and it kind of felt like it was truly meant to be.
We have practice tomorrow. Like, we need to get ready. Like, we're actually going, we're doing this. So, I mean, it was super cool.
We still have some season left, and when we figured out that, it was like, it went right back to the mindset. It was instant, like, right back to the start of, like, the why not us. And nothing mattered anymore because we got that extra shot.
I mean, I just remember us being in the locker room joking, obviously, like, oh, we're here, guys, like, we're actually going. Like, Lisa was just very much like, okay, next thing, like, yes, this is great, celebrate, but who are we playing? Who do we need to beat? Let's scout hard, train hard. We had just played Boise State. We were like, okay, this is perfect. We know exactly how they play. We didn't play our best volleyball, like, let's go out and attack it.
Again, being very consistent, it was just practice. I didn't want to make it a bigger deal than what it was because it was a big deal. It was huge, and we knew that. Going all the way back to preseason, you're finished to pick last. It was a huge deal that we were in the tournament. And so I didn't need to make it any bigger than that. I needed to keep it consistent and I needed to keep it normal.
Yeah, Lisa's big thing is we prepare the same no matter who we're playing. We practice the same and we approach every game as if we're gonna win. And obviously that was how we approached practice, but there was just a little bit more joy and a little bit more excitement. Everybody was just so grateful to be there, and yeah, there was just a little bit more intensity at these practices.
We never drug practice out of them, but there were times where people are like, oh, I'm tired, or it took a little bit longer for them to get going. On that Monday, it was like, they were bouncing off the walls. And we had at that time, we had started to consolidate practices and they were much shorter, much more efficient. But it's the end of November, bodies are getting tired, minds are getting tired. And so there was definitely kind of a reborn energy and enthusiasm going into Mountain West tournament.
It was definitely a different type of energy for sure, because we knew that something we could do, we had the opportunity to do something great, something that we had never done before. And so I think the energy had shifted a little bit towards, okay, we were locked in, like this is for real, this is something that we have to show people we deserve to be at. Because we might not have gotten in the way that we wanted to, but we got in for a reason. And so I think that we were all a little bit more tuned in. And so yeah, we were definitely brought it to practice, that's for sure. We brought our A game every day.
We were all there for business. Like, I think, obviously we were so excited, but when we walked in the gym, like, we were ready to win the tournament. And so maybe a little shift because we were, I think, maybe a little more focused and determined, but I wouldn't say not any type of different feeling, no.
Yeah, I remember in the locker room, everyone's just like, okay, if we got in, we might as well win the whole thing, We're not going there to lose, absolutely not.